supertalk.fm. We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app. We hope you have downloaded that. We're always on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station, and don't forget about watching us. You can find us on your computer or your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see I'm not alone anymore in the studio today. I got with me Scott Waller. He's the president and CEO of the Mississippi Economic Council, and a familiar face around here, Steve Davenport. He's our founder and chairman of SuperTalk Mississippi Media. They have come together to partner with the Mississippi Major Disaster Relief Fund to support Mississippians impacted by major disasters. And Scott, we said, man, it's not like we tried to plan it with a hurricane.
Not planned, but we're in the midst of seeing what may happen over the next couple of days.
And it would be remiss to say that it would be great to have a fund like this available if something was to go south, so to speak, in terms of with the weather. So, Scott, how did all this come about?
Well, what happened was we were looking at ways to extend our reach at MEC. The Mississippi Economic Council is the state chamber of commerce. We're a private, not-for-profit. We're supported solely by the business members that we have in all sectors of the economy across the state. But we have two foundations as well. And I have actually worked with a national group that we come together a couple of times a year and talk about what are some great, best practices they're doing. And another state had done something similar to this with a sports talk program. And I got to thinking about, with SuperTalk Mississippi Media, you had the ability to expand it well beyond that with not just the talk network, but the music network, the news network. And I sat down with Steve and Kim and kind of pitched what the idea is, that we wanted to be the collector of funds through the Chamber's foundation, the Swayze Foundation that's part of MEC, and then use those funds to kind of fill the gap. Our rapid response groups, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, MEMA, they do a tremendous job, and we want to kind of partner to how do we continue to find ways to help Mississippians impacted well after the storm or whatever may have happened. So that was really kind of the idea behind it, and I felt like having the network that the SuperTalk provides to get that information out was great. And I sat down and pitched the idea, and they were like, let's find a way to do this.
Steve, when it came to you with this idea, what made it fit perfectly with our greater mission other than just talk and radio? Obviously, SuperTalk's got their hand in the community where it makes sense. How did this make sense?
Well, I think it made sense because it was an immediate opportunity for us to reach out into all these communities. It gave us an opportunity to be involved with raising money for people during the disaster. And as you well know, Mississippi people give. They do, especially during disasters, and the poorest of the poor give, to help their neighbor. So I think it was a great time for us, and it gave us a good opportunity to work with MEC again on a project. And it's going to be a great, I hope we don't have to use it, but you and I know that that's going to happen. And we hope it doesn't happen this week.
Right.
But it could happen this week. You got a storm coming that always throws off tornadoes or different things happen. So we're prepared to go forward with it. We're going to use every platform we have, every digital platform, our podcast, all our shows, similar to what we do with the Palmer Home. But we're going to do it on a continuous basis. We will get it started, with the first disaster comes, and then we'll continue it in some level, and we'll have a place on our website that you can go to and punch a button, and it'll take you to MEC's disaster fund, to our disaster fund, and you'll be able to contribute there.
You got plenty listening to good things who have lived through hurricanes, big and small, tornadoes, big and small, all the ice storms, big and small, and think, man, the fun like this could have been just what was necessary to get them over the hump of getting back to life to normal. Scott, talk about how you mentioned the Red Cross, Salvation Army, MEMA, FEMA. They provide that rapid sort of response immediately. So this fund, what would be the potential areas of support?
The idea behind this fund was to be dollars that were coming in to an organization that we knew we could spend as many of those pennies as possible for Mississippians. When we first sat down and talked about it, within 10 minutes of the conversation, Steve was like, we'll do all of ours at no cost. MEC is waiving our standard administration fee that we put on programs that we run through the foundation. So the really, we're looking at, we were talking today, well in the 90 to 95+% of the dollars that are coming in are going to go back out because there's going to be some hard costs involved, but that's the only thing that we'll keep. And it won't be salaries. It will be really covering the cost of administering the fund beyond what we would normally take on top of that. So that's number one. Number two is what we want to do is work with our local communities, the local nonprofits within the communities that are impacted, and determine what those needs are. And get with them kind of once, the recovery doesn't take a week, a month to do a recovery. It takes a long time. Mm-hmm. Get with them in those latter stages and say, okay, what are the needs for housing? What are the needs? Is there still need for food and other things? The chamber that did this, that we kind of modeled this off of, was the Kentucky Chamber. And it was when some flooding happened up in the state a few years ago, and that was something they had never seen before. But one of the things they actually gave some dollars for was from scholarships for students impacted that were having trouble making up the cost of going back and restarting their education. So we believe it could be a variety of things. There will be an advisory committee that is going to be formed and basically has been formed, and we'll look at, okay, once the dollars come in, where are the best places to spend it? The other side of it is it gives our members in particular, MEC and others that maybe aren't based in Mississippi, their headquarters aren't in Mississippi, and when something major happens, they'll get the call and say, hey, we want to help out. Where do we send the money? This gives them that opportunity to provide dollars that can be specified to specific communities that are impacted and have the confidence of knowing they're going to go in the right place. MEC is celebrating its 75th year. So we're a long-standing organization. We make sure that we do things the right way, and that's been very important to us. And I think this is why this partnership is so important to me, is I know for a fact that SuperTalk wants to make sure that this is done right. And between the two of us, we feel like we can have a major impact on the Mississippians who are impacted.
So, Steve, to sort of wrap my brain around it, it would be activated if and when a natural disaster happens. And usually if something was to go down, then immediately after we would be trying to raise funds. It's not necessarily like an ongoing, although anybody who feels the need to drop a penny in the bank, that'd be fine. It's
there. In fact, on the top of our website at the mec.ms, there is a banner that someone that wanted to right now could go and make a donation. We are set up. Everything is in place with the Secretary of State's office to allow us to accept donations. And we made sure we did all that the right way, and I credit Steve for helping us through that. So anyway, that's what we want to do. Mm-hmm. We want it. The adage that I heard for so long, particularly after Katrina, anytime something would come along, is that you prepare for the worst and pray for the best. Mm-hmm. We're always praying for the best, but now we're going to be prepared in case we have to do something. This is in place, ready to go, and can be effective.
And Steve, it's one of those things where you forget about how important radio is during these natural disasters anyway. Everyone's tuning in. They're airing up, or they're not airing up their radio, but they're getting their, their batteries and things for their radio, or they have their AM, FM. And so it's just another component. If you're tuning in to be able to get information on a natural disaster, now you're going to be able to tune in and know where you can send funds if you
because we'll be, as you well know, the news department will be covering the stories anyway. Mm-hmm. And so it gives us an opportunity to get our news people involved and our hosts involved and promote it and just push it, just like we do the Palmer Home, except a one-day thing. This would probably be a 2 or 3 week thing or maybe a month, as long as it takes to raise the funds. Because when you have a disaster, these great organizations like Salvation Army, Blue Cross, MEMA, all these people do a great job. But 6-8 months after that, I mean, look at Rolling Fork, Mississippi today. It's a prime example. The feds came in, and everybody came in and helped and did a fabulous job.
But we're still talking about recovery.
But we're still talking about recovery. And these organizations are moving on to different disasters all the time because they have, these are national and statewide organizations who have a disaster hit them, one, boom, 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 boom. And so this fund will come along after the initial disaster and take care of some people and some things and some. I mean, it could do anything, buying food, whatever we have to do, because I think there's a lot of people that get left on the side of the road when a disaster hits. I really do. I mean,
we don't want to.
I'm from the coast. I lived through Camille, And so I saw Camille and Katrina, and it's, if the people of the coast really got together on Katrina, and of course the federal government did, Haley Barbour did an outstanding job and rebuilt the coast, but then there was stuff after that you had to do. And I think that this fund is going to really help.
So the Mississippi Major Disaster Relief Fund, Scott, where do we go if we want to get that started?
The easiest thing to do is go to the MEC website right now. It's mec.ms. At the very top of the page, there's a banner that you click, and it gives you the information on how you can donate. You can donate immediately online. You can send a check. We've got the information on that page as well. And I know that SuperTalk intends to put the same type of information on all of its platforms as we go forward. So there's plenty of opportunities. And again, we want to make sure we were prepared and ready to go. And again, when we scheduled to come in to see you, we had no idea we were going to be dealing with something that's going to be hitting the Gulf Coast.
Not this one. It'll be the spring or whatever it may be.
It will be something